السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله.
The Czech Republic greatly contributes to the preservation of Iraqi historical monuments. The cooperation in this area was initiated by the former ministers of culture of the two countries, Pavel Dostal and Mufid al-Jazairi. At their initiative, part of the funds allotted by the Czech authorities to the post-war rebuilding of Iraq was directed towards the preservation and restoration of the historical monuments that suffered substantial damage in the course of the military operations. Because of the dangerous situation in the southern and central parts of Iraq, it was to the north of the country that Czech specialists were sent. As part of the Cultural Heritage Preservation Program, the Czech authorities provided the Ministry of Culture of the Kurdistan regional government with financial assistance, which laid foundations for the project of the preservation of the citadel in Erbil. We are taking part in the Erbil Fair a second time in a row. As the Minister of Culture, we are exhibiting mainly various cultural actions, primarily from the area of folklore, that are related to the traditions and history of the Kurdish nation. The fair is generally aimed at other spheres as well, such as the economy, but first of all at the rebuilding of Iraq. A pavilion is a cultural exhibition. We are not showing any industrial goods, just things dealing with culture. For example, we are exhibiting magazines and books published last year, 175 titles altogether. There are various weeklies, monthlies, but also newspapers. There are also magazines and books for children. We are also exhibiting some folk handicraft, for example calligraphy or ceramics. There is also an external exhibition, the so-called Kurdish House, where you can taste traditional food, see Kurdish dances and traditional costumes from Kirkuk, Erbil, Duhok and Suleimani, listen to folk music. It's a kind of open-air museum. In cooperation with the Czech Ministry of Foreign Affairs, preparatory work can be initiated in December 2005, aimed at conducting a series of tests at the Citadel, one of the oldest continuously inhabited places in the world. It was then that representatives of Gemma Art Group began cooperation with the Kurdistan Regional Government's Ministry of Culture. We are happy to be able to cooperate with the Czech Republic, a peace-loving state, because we always wanted to cooperate with such partners. I know that Czechs and Kurds have a lot in common, both with regard to folklore and culture. We are close to each other in many ways. For these reasons, we're interested in having our cooperation develop not just in the sphere of culture, but also in business, in expanding the relationships between Erbil and the Czech Republic. Cooperation is of great importance because there are numerous historical objects that are in a poor state, but so far nobody has offered to help us preserve them. The Czech Republic is now intensively helping us preserve these monuments. An example of this cooperation is the renovation of the Chole minaret in Erbil. This cooperation shows a new direction in how to preserve historical monuments and look after them, how to stabilize a monument and at the same time retaining its original appearance. The preservation of Kurdish historical monuments is of great importance to us, because we have lived through 100 years of cultural oppression to see the day when we can show the whole world the beauty of our culture. As part of our cooperation, Kurdish students participated in training at Czech universities and gained new experience. We want our relationship to develop, not only in the sphere of culture and tourism. I'd like to use this opportunity and express sincere respect for the Czech people and the Czech authorities, both on my behalf and on behalf of the Kurdish nation. Thank you.
No to je naprosto ideální. Hodně velký ideální.
The tests at the Citadel were conducted by specialists from the University of West Bohemia in Pilsen, the Czech Technical University, the Institute of Ancient Egypt of the Czech Academy of Sciences, and Gamma Art Group.
To nevadí, já to jako, když bude zatlučený dovnitř, tak to bude pevný bod, takhle to moc pevný bod.
Může takhle zůstat?
Možná ještě ho dáme, tady se dá vylézt na tý mešíku, tady tím lázní. Dá se no, tam jsou byly minulé, tam by to bylo taky. Tam by to mělo jít tady a radši ještě do prostředka jeden, někdy může být zakrytý z nějakého pohledu.
Also, basic documentation was drawn up. General archaeological data was obtained, as well as material for the photogrammetric plan and a digital model of the citadel were prepared.
On here or here? The black is here, the bone is here. The black is here, the bone is here.
Finally, the first stage took place of the geophysical test of the tell, which is a specialist term for an artificial mount. The existence of this place was recorded at the time of the Assyrian Empire and was referred to as Urbilum, or Arbailu, a center for the worship of the Assyrian goddess Ishtar and the residence of Assyrian kings. The ancient history of the site finds its testimony, among other things, in the objects found during the surface excavation conducted at the foot of the tell. They comprised a great range of ceramic patterns and other artifacts documenting the subsequent civilizations and peoples that inhabited the site of the citadel, from the era of Neolithic cultures until the late Islamic period. The oldest artifacts are represented by the collection of Paleolithic chopper stones.
Dobrý.
وهاتني جروبي Gema Art Group.
We carry out projects in cooperation with the Gema Art Group, which is a company specializing in the restoration and preservation of historical monuments, not only in Kurdistan, but all over the world. As part of this cooperation, we have drawn up the restoration plan of the Choli minaret and agreed on the creation of a citadel archaeological center and archive in the historical Fateh Chalabi house. Gema Art Group are putting a lot of effort for the purpose of protecting the cultural heritage of Kurdistan. The company has also organized restoration training for Iraqi specialists both in the Czech Republic and Iraq. In collaboration with the University of West Bohemia, it organized field training for Salahuddin University archaeology students.
Then sometimes
Ten domeček, ne? To je tamhle to takhle s tím žebříkem, je to i vidět. Tamhle to je u těch hradeb, to je tamhle končej. No. A pak jsme byli ještě někde. To jsem ještě nějak nezaregistroval, kde.
The existence of Erbil was recorded in Sumerian cuneiform tablets as early as the 3rd millennium BC, referred to as Urbailum, or Holy City. In the era of the Assyrian Empire, between the 11th and 7th century BC, the city was called Arbailu, or the City of Four Gods. It was here in 331 BC that Darius III of Persia fled after his defeat at the great ancient battle which took place at Gaugamela, some 100 kilometers west of the city. The battle is sometimes referred to as the Battle of Arbela. Cultures and religions were constantly changing in Erbil. The city was a center of Christianity from the 3rd to the 6th century, but its modern character derives from Islam, which reached Erbil in the 7th century.
Měříme, paní. No, tak.
هوادارم كلجر ملتي تشيك كيك كلا ملتا سربرزكاني روش هالاتو
The Czechs are one of the most outstanding nations. They have a close relationship with the East and an amiable character, which is why there are such good relationships between the nations of Kurdistan and the Czech Republic.
Something must be done with the minaret because of leaning.
Last year, restoration tests of the 14th century Choli minaret were carried out, and a project of the preservation of this wonder of Islamic architecture was submitted to the Kurdish partners. Currently, the realization of this project is being prepared, and further forms of cooperations are being discussed concerning the preservation of historical sites and archaeology in Iraqi Kurdistan.
استاذ كنعان انا لاحظ احنا تلفزيون تشيكي ولاحظت اكو بوستر عليها العلم التشيكي والكردي. تقدر شويه تحدثنا عن هذا المشروع والمناره؟
نعم مشكورا. شركة جيما آرت جروب.
This project is about cooperation with Gema Art Group, a company that specializes in the restoration and preservation of historical monuments. We have signed a 6-month contract concerning tests in the leaning Mudaffariya minaret, whose inclination is 81 centimeters. Restoration tests need to be carried out and scientific measurements taken, as well as a future project of its stabilization must be elaborated. This is why the poster shows Czech and Kurdish flags on both sides of the Mudaffariya minaret, as a symbol of the cooperation of our nations and of mutual friendship. The significance of the restoration work conducted by Gema Art Group for the development of mutual Czech-Iraqi relationships is highly valued by the Czech Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Great support to the projects is given by Petr Voznica, the Czech ambassador to Iraq.
وجنابي سفير تشيك كسرداني كردستاني كرد أو زور بدر سوزية.
The Czech ambassador is greatly helping to develop the relationships with Kurdistan. He is contributing to our successful cooperation in the field of culture and in the projects carried out in the Citadel and the Choli minaret, as well as in other fields. Our relationships will surely go on developing also in the spheres of economy and technology. The projects conducted hitherto in Erbil have greatly contributed to the establishment of a close cooperation with the Salahuddin University, the Kurdish academic community and students, as well as the people working in the fields of monument preservation, culture and tourism. There is a great prospect of a further development of the cooperation between the two countries. Both partners are well aware of the great value of the results of the cooperation so far between the Czech and Kurdish specialists. The continuation of the ongoing projects depends to a great extent on the financial potential of the Kurdish government.